You are asking the universe for new clothes, new money, and new relationships, but your closet is full, your bank account is stagnant, and your mind is cluttered with old memories. Joseph Murphy taught a principle derived directly from physics. Nature abhors a vacuum. You cannot pour fresh wine into a cup that is already full of sour vinegar. The reason your prayers for wealth are not answered is not that the universe is stingy. It is that you have no room to receive. You are blocked by your own hoarding. The infinite stands at your door with gold in its hands, but your house is so packed with garbage that the door will not open. This is not a metaphor. This is a mechanical law as precise as gravity. The universe operates on the principle of circulation, and you have become a dam instead of a channel. The pain is the stagnation, the suffocating feeling that life has become a closed loop where nothing new can enter, no matter how hard you pray or visualize. You are trying to force new furniture into a room packed with garbage. It doesn't fit. You are attempting to breathe in while your lungs are still full of old air, and you wonder why you are suffocating. Murphy understood that the average person lives in a state of psychic constipation, holding on to broken relationships, outdated beliefs, clothes they will never wear, and money they are too afraid to spend. Every object you refuse to release, every grudge you nurse, every dollar you hoard in terror, takes up space in the invisible architecture of your consciousness. That space is finite. When it is full, the new cannot enter. This is not punishment from God. This is simple physics applied to the realm of mind. Murphy promises that if you have the courage to create a vacuum, to empty out the old, the useless, and the negative, the universe is mechanically forced to rush in and fill that space with gold. It is not a choice. It is a pressure equalization. Nature abhors a vacuum with such intensity that the moment you create empty space, the infinite begins to move toward you like a tidal wave. The greater the vacuum, the more violent the inrush of supply. You have been taught to hold on, to save for a rainy day, to never let go of anything because you might need it later. This philosophy has turned you into a graveyard of dead things. Murphy's teaching is the opposite. To receive the new, you must ruthlessly banish the old. The universe is not withholding from you. You are withholding from the universe the space it needs to deliver your good. Consider the man who prays for a new career, but refuses to quit the job he despises, or the woman who begs for a soulmate but will not end the toxic relationship that drains her life force. They are asking for the new while clinging to the old with white knuckles. The result is paralysis. The subconscious mind, which Murphy called the servant that obeys your every command, receives conflicting orders. You say you want wealth, but your actions scream that you believe in scarcity. You say you want love, but your energy is locked in resentment. The subconscious does not judge, it simply mirrors. If your inner and outer world are cluttered, your subconscious will produce more clutter. If you create a vacuum, it will produce a flood. In this video, we will execute the emptying protocol, the exact method to create the suction force that pulls wealth to you like a magnet pulls iron filings. This is not about positive thinking or affirmations alone. This is about altering the physical and mental structure of your life to create a low-pressure system that the universe must fill. You will learn how to release the old at every level: physical objects, mental patterns, and energetic blockages. You will learn how to create space in your closet, your mind, and your bank account so that the infinite has room to pour in its abundance. This is the science of circulation, and it is as reliable as the law of thermodynamics. But there is a fatal mistake called the fear of the void. When you create a vacuum, there is a moment of emptiness before the wealth comes. Your closet is empty. Your savings account is lighter. Your schedule has gaps. In that moment, the untrained mind panics. It interprets the emptiness as loss, as danger, as proof that the universe has abandoned you. If you panic during this moment, you will fill the void with disaster instead of gold. You will rush out and buy cheap replacements for what you released. You will fill your calendar with meaningless obligations. You will sabotage the very vacuum you worked so hard to create. I will teach you how to hold the space in Part 4, how to endure the silence between the exhale and the inhale, how to trust the mechanism even when your senses scream that you have made a terrible mistake. This is the test that separates those who receive from those who remain empty. Murphy taught that the universe rewards those who demonstrate faith through action, and creating a vacuum is the ultimate act of faith. You are saying to the infinite, I trust you so completely that I will release what I have, knowing that you will replace it with something greater. This is not recklessness. This is precision. This is not gambling. This is engineering. When you finish this video, you will go to your home and begin the release. You will feel lighter. You will feel the energy shift, and within days you will see the evidence that the law is real. Ask yourself, are you ready to empty the cup so the universe can fill it with wine? If the answer is yes, type in the comments, I release the old, to signal to your subconscious that the floodgates are now open. The central concept that governs all wealth, all health, and all manifestation is what Joseph Murphy called the law of circulation. Money is not a static object. It is energy in motion, and energy must flow or it dies. Stagnation is death. A river that stops moving becomes a swamp, breeding disease and decay. A body that stops circulating blood becomes a corpse. Your financial life operates under the same law. If you hoard money, old clothes, or old grudges, you stop the flow, and the universe interprets this as a signal that you do not need more. You have declared yourself full. The infinite, which is infinitely abundant, will not force supply upon someone who has no room to receive it. This is not cruelty. This is respect for your free will. You have chosen stagnation, and the law honors your choice. Murphy taught that the subconscious mind is the servant that takes orders from your habitual thoughts and actions. If your habitual action is to hold on, to save everything just in case, to never spend, to never give, to never release, then you are programming your subconscious with the belief that the source is limited. You are telling your inner servant, there is not enough. I must cling to what I have because no more is coming. The subconscious, being perfectly obedient, will then create circumstances that match this belief. You will experience lack, not because the universe is withholding, but because you have ordered your subconscious to produce lack. The moment you begin to release, to give, to spend, to throw away what no longer serves you, you send a new command. You say, I trust the source. I am a channel, not a reservoir. I let go of the old to make room for the new. This is why Murphy insisted that you must release what you no longer need to signal to the subconscious that you trust the source. If you keep clothes you haven't worn in 5 years for a rainy day, you are mathematically predicting a rainy day. You are affirming that hard times are coming, and your subconscious will bring hard times to validate your prediction. If you keep broken appliances because you might fix them someday, you are living in the vibration of brokenness, and your life will reflect that frequency. To get the new, you must ruthlessly banish the old. This is not about being wasteful. This is about being strategic. You are clearing the channel so that the new can flow in unobstructed. Every object in your home carries a psychic charge. If that charge is old, broken, or unwanted, then your environment is broadcasting a signal of decay, and the universe will send you more decay. The law of circulation demands that you become a conduit, not a dam. Water flows through a pipe. It does not stay in the pipe. If the pipe tries to hold the water, the pressure builds until the pipe bursts. You are that pipe. The universe is trying to flow through you, but you are holding on so tightly that you are about to burst. Murphy observed that the wealthiest people he knew were also the most generous, not because generosity made them wealthy, but because their wealth was a result of their understanding of circulation. They gave freely because they knew that giving created a vacuum, and that vacuum would be filled with even greater supply. They spent money on quality because they knew that using broken or cheap things lowered their vibration to the frequency of poverty. They released employees who were not performing because they knew that holding on to dead weight blocked the arrival of the right people. Consider the principle from a biological perspective. Your body is in a constant state of circulation. You inhale oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide. You consume food and eliminate waste. If you tried to hold your breath or refuse to eliminate, you would die within hours. The same law applies to your finances and your possessions. You must take in and let go in a rhythmic cycle. The moment you break the rhythm by hoarding, you initiate the process of death. Murphy was not speaking metaphorically when he said that hoarding is a form of spiritual constipation. The energy becomes toxic. The money you hoard does not feel like security. It feels like a burden. The clothes you never wear do not feel like abundance. They feel like clutter. The grudges you hold do not feel like justice. They feel like poison. To activate the law of circulation, you must make a decision that feels dangerous to the ego. You must release before you see the replacement. This is the test. Anyone can throw away old clothes after they buy new ones. That requires no faith. But to throw away the old clothes when your closet is nearly empty, to give money when your bank account is low, to forgive when the wound is still fresh, this is the act that moves mountains. This is the act that signals to the universe that you are operating on a higher law than the law of appearances. You are saying, I do not believe in lack. I believe in the infinite source, and I create space for it to fill me. The subconscious mind, which controls 95% of your life, receives this signal and begins to rearrange your circumstances to match your new belief. Murphy taught that the universe is not a miser. It is not sitting in heaven counting coins and deciding who deserves what. The universe is an infinite ocean of supply, and it is always pressing against you, trying to give you everything you need. The only thing that blocks the flow is your own resistance, your own clinging, your own refusal to let go. When you create a vacuum, you remove the resistance. You become like a sponge that has been squeezed dry, and the moment you release the pressure, the sponge expands and draws in water. You do not have to beg the water to enter. You do not have to convince the water that you are worthy. The water rushes in automatically because that is the nature of water and the nature of vacuums. This is the law, and it is as impersonal and reliable as the law of gravity. The reason most people never experience this law in action is that they never create a true vacuum. They release a little and expect a lot. They give away one old shirt and wonder why $1 million didn't appear. They forgive one small offense and expect their entire life to transform overnight. Murphy's teaching is more demanding. He says you must create a significant vacuum, a noticeable emptiness, a space so large that the universe has room to deliver something substantial. If you want a trickle, create a small gap. If you want a flood, create a chasm. The size of your vacuum determines the size of your supply. This is not mysticism, this is mathematics. Think of it as a bank account. If you have $10 in your account and you want 100, you cannot simply wait for the universe to add $90. You must first spend or give away the $10 to demonstrate that you are in the flow, that you trust the source, that you are not operating from fear. This feels insane to the rational mind, which screams, if I spend the $10, I will have zero. But Murphy's response is, if you keep the $10 in fear, you will always have only $10. If you release the $10 in faith, you create a vacuum that the universe must fill with 100. The law does not respond to your words. It responds to your actions. Your actions reveal your true beliefs, and your true beliefs create your reality. The law of circulation also applies to relationships. If you are clinging to a friendship that drains you, you are blocking the arrival of a friendship that would uplift you. If you are staying in a romantic relationship out of fear of being alone, you are preventing your soulmate from finding you. The universe cannot deliver the new person while the old person is occupying the space. You must create the vacancy. This does not mean you should recklessly abandon everyone in your life. It means you should honestly assess which relationships are still serving your growth and which have become dead weight. Murphy was clear: you must love people, but you must not be enslaved by them. If a relationship has run its course, release it with gratitude and create space for the divine right people to enter. The same principle applies to your career. If you are in a job that suffocates your soul, you are blocking the career that would fulfill you. The universe is trying to deliver your dream job, but it cannot because you are still clinging to the nightmare. Murphy's advice was radical. Quit the job before you have the next one lined up, if you have done the inner work and truly believe in the law. This is not irresponsible. This is faith in action. Of course, you should be wise. You should save some money. You should have a plan. But at some point you must leap, you must create the vacuum. The net will appear, but only after you jump. If you wait for the net to appear before you jump, you will wait forever. Because the law requires the vacuum first. Murphy often said, "You must give to receive." This is not a moral platitude. This is a description of how the mechanism works. Giving creates the outflow, and outflow creates the vacuum, and the vacuum creates the inflow. If you are not receiving, it is because you are not giving. And giving does not only mean money. You can give your time, your attention, your forgiveness, your smile, your knowledge. Every act of giving is an act of faith, a declaration that you trust the source to replenish you. The miser who hoards every penny is not protecting himself. He is strangling himself. He has stopped the circulation and therefore he has stopped his supply. The generous person who gives freely is not being reckless. He is being scientific. He understands that the universe is a mirror and it will reflect back to him whatever he puts out. To summarize the central concept, wealth is not about accumulation, it is about circulation. You are not a vault designed to store treasure. You are a river designed to carry treasure from the source to the world and back again. The moment you try to become a vault, you become a tomb. The moment you try to hold the water, you become stagnant. Murphy's teaching is simple but terrifying to the ego. Let go and you will receive. Hold on and you will lose everything. The law of circulation is the heartbeat of the universe, and you must synchronize your life with that heartbeat or you will flatline. Create the vacuum, and the universe will fill it. This is not a promise. This is a law. The unshakable logic of the vacuum law can be understood through the analogy of the lungs. You cannot take a deep breath in, you cannot receive, until you have breathed all the air out. You cannot inhale and exhale simultaneously. If you try to hold your breath, trying to keep the air you have, because you are afraid no more air will come, you will suffocate within minutes. Your body does not hoard oxygen, it trusts the atmosphere. It releases the old air completely, creating a vacuum in the lungs, and the new air rushes in automatically due to the pressure differential. You do not have to beg the air to enter. You do not have to convince the air that you are worthy. The air enters because the vacuum demands it. This is the same mechanism that governs wealth, love, and every form of supply. Murphy taught that the exhale, the act of giving, releasing, spending, forgiving, must precede the inhale, which is the act of receiving. This is not a suggestion. This is the order of operations. You cannot reverse the sequence. If you try to inhale before you exhale, you are trying to add more air to lungs that are already full, and the result is pressure, discomfort, and eventual collapse. Most people approach wealth this way. They want to receive before they give. They want the new job before they quit the old one. They want the new relationship before they end the toxic one. They want the money before they demonstrate generosity. This is trying to inhale before exhaling, and it violates the law. The universe cannot give you what you are not ready to receive, and you are not ready to receive until you have created the space. Think of your financial life as a set of lungs. If your bank account is stagnant, if money comes in and sits there, never circulating, you are holding your breath. You are afraid to spend, afraid to give, afraid to invest, because you believe that if you release the money, no more will come. This belief is the very thing that prevents more from coming. The universe reads your energy, not your words. If your energy is one of fear and constriction, the universe will match that energy with scarcity. If your energy is one of trust and expansion, the universe will match that energy with abundance. The act of spending or giving money when you are afraid is the equivalent of exhaling when your lungs are burning. It feels counterintuitive, but it is the only way to get fresh air. Murphy observed that people who are wealthy have a natural rhythm of circulation. They spend money easily because they know more is coming. They give generously because they understand that giving creates the vacuum. They do not clutch their resources in terror. They release them with confidence. This is not because they are foolish or reckless. It is because they have internalized the law. They have learned through experience that the exhale always precedes the inhale, and they trust the mechanism. The poor person, by contrast, holds his breath. He hoards the little he has, terrified that if he releases it, he will be left with nothing. And because he holds his breath, he suffocates. His fear of loss creates the very loss he fears. Consider the physical sensation of holding your breath. At first it feels safe. You have the air. It is yours. You are in control. But within seconds the sensation shifts. The air becomes stale. The carbon dioxide builds up, your chest tightens, panic sets in. You are not preserving your life by holding your breath. You are ending it. The same is true of money. When you hoard it, it does not feel like security for long. It begins to feel like a burden. You become paranoid about losing it. You become miserly. You become small. The money that was supposed to bring you freedom has made you a prisoner. This is because you have violated the law of circulation. You have tried to stop the river, and now the river is drowning you. The vacuum law operates on the principle of pressure equalization. In physics, if you have a high-pressure area and a low-pressure area, the air will flow from high to low until the pressure is equal. This is what creates wind. The stronger the pressure differential, the stronger the wind. If you want a hurricane of abundance, you need to create a massive low-pressure system in your life. You need to create a vacuum so large that the universe has no choice but to rush in with a violent inrush of supply. Murphy was not teaching metaphysics for the sake of philosophy. He was teaching applied physics. He understood that the mind and the material world operate under the same laws, and if you learn to manipulate those laws, you can engineer your destiny. To create the vacuum, you must exhale completely. This means you must release not just a little, but a lot. You must clean out your closet entirely, not just donate one shirt. You must forgive every person who has wronged you, not just the ones who wronged you mildly. You must spend money on something that uplifts you, even if it feels extravagant. You must quit the job that is killing you, even if you do not have the next one lined up. This is the exhale. It is complete, total, and terrifying. And the moment you complete the exhale, the inhale begins. The universe rushes in to fill the space you have created. The new clothes appear, the new money arrives, the new relationship manifests. This is not magic, this is mechanics. Murphy often used the metaphor of the garden. If you want to plant new seeds, you must first pull out the weeds. If you try to plant new seeds among the weeds will choke the new growth. The weeds are the old patterns, the old possessions, the old grudges. They must be removed completely, roots and all, to create the space for the new. This is hard work. It is painful. The ego resists because the ego loves the familiar, even if the familiar is toxic. But the law does not care about your comfort. The law cares about your alignment. If you align with the law of circulation, the law will reward you with abundance. If you resist the law will punish you with scarcity. The choice is yours. The reason the vacuum law is unshakable is that it is based on the fundamental structure of reality. Reality is not static, it is dynamic. Everything is in motion. Atoms vibrate, planets orbit, seasons change. If you try to stop the motion, you create disease and death. The human body is designed to circulate blood, lymph, oxygen, and nutrients. If any of these systems stop circulating, you die. Your financial and emotional life are no different. They are systems that require circulation to function. If you stop the circulation by hoarding, clinging, or refusing to release, those systems die. You become spiritually bankrupt even if your bank account is full. You become emotionally dead even if you are surrounded by people. Murphy's genius was in recognizing that the laws of the physical world are also the laws of the mental world. The same principle that governs your lungs governs your bank account. The same principle that governs the weather governs your relationships. If you want wind, you need a pressure differential. If you want abundance, you need a vacuum. This is not a belief system. This is a description of how the universe operates. You can test it. Create a vacuum in any area of your life and watch what happens. Give away half your wardrobe and see how quickly new clothes appear. Forgive someone you have hated for years and see how quickly new love enters. Spend money on something beautiful and see how quickly more money arrives. The law is impersonal and reliable. It does not care who you are or what you believe. It only cares what you do. The final piece of the unshakable logic is this. The universe is always trying to give you more. It is not withholding. It is not testing you. It is not punishing you. It is simply waiting for you to create the space to receive. You are standing under a waterfall with a cup that is already full, complaining that you are thirsty. Murphy's message is simple. Empty the cup. Pour out the old, stale water. Hold the cup up to the waterfall with nothing in it, and watch as it fills instantly. The waterfall does not ask if you are worthy. It does not check your credit score. It simply fills whatever empty space is presented to it. This is the law of the vacuum, and it is the key to everything you have ever wanted. Create the space, and the universe will fill it. Hold your breath and you will suffocate. The choice has always been yours. The mental preparation required to execute the vacuum law is what Joseph Murphy called fearless release, and it is the most difficult part of the entire process. It feels dangerous to throw things away or spend money when you feel broke. Every fiber of your being screams that you are making a mistake, that you are being irresponsible, that you will regret this decision. This is the voice of the ego, and it is the voice of the past. The ego is designed to protect you from danger, but it cannot distinguish between real danger and imagined danger. To the ego, releasing your possessions feels like jumping off a cliff. It does not understand that you are not falling, you are flying. The ego only knows what it has experienced before, and if you have spent your life hoarding and clinging, the ego will interpret release as death. Murphy taught that you must override the ego with a higher understanding. You must train your mind to see release not as loss, but as investment. When you throw away old clothes, you are not losing clothes, you are investing in new clothes. When you give away money, you are not losing money, you are investing in more money. When you forgive someone, you are not letting them off the hook, you are freeing yourself from the prison of resentment. This shift in perspective is everything. If you see release as loss, you will sabotage the process. If you see release as investment, you will accelerate the process. The universe does not respond to your actions alone. It responds to the consciousness behind your actions. If you give with resentment, the universe reads resentment and gives you more reasons to resent. If you give with joy, the universe reads joy and gives you more reasons to rejoice. The required state is one of absolute trust in the mechanism. You must trust that the vacuum must be filled. This is not blind faith, this is informed faith. You are not hoping the law will work. You are knowing the law will work because the law has no choice. A vacuum is an unstable state in nature. Nature abhors instability and rushes to correct it. When you create a vacuum in your life, you create an unstable state, and the universe must stabilize it by filling the vacuum with supply. This is not a favor the universe is doing for you. This is a mechanical response to the conditions you have created. You are not begging God to bless you. You are engineering a situation where the universe has no option but to bless you. To cultivate fearless release, you must meditate on the principle of circulation daily. Sit quietly and visualize your life as a river. See the water flowing in and flowing out in a continuous cycle. See that the river is never empty because the source is infinite. Affirm, I am a channel for infinite supply. I release the old to make room for the new. I trust the law of circulation completely. Do this every morning before you begin the physical work of releasing. This mental preparation is not optional. It is the foundation. If you try to release without the proper mental state, you will either fail to release or you will release and then panic, which is worse than not releasing at all. The panic will cause you to fill the vacuum with garbage, and you will have wasted your effort. Murphy also taught that you must release with gratitude, not with bitterness. If you give away old clothes while thinking, I hate these clothes, they are ugly, and I never want to see them again, you are releasing with negative energy, and the universe will send you more things to hate. If you give away old clothes while thinking, thank you for serving me, I release you with love so that someone else can benefit, you are releasing with positive energy, and the universe will send you things to love. The emotional tone of your release determines the quality of what fills the vacuum. This is why Murphy insisted that you must bless everything you release. You must bless the old job as you quit. You must bless the old relationship as you end it. You must bless the old money as you spend it. Blessing is the act of releasing with love, and love is the highest vibration in the universe. Another critical aspect of mental preparation is understanding that the vacuum will feel uncomfortable. There will be a period of emptiness, a gap between the release and the arrival of the new. This gap is where most people fail. They create the vacuum, and then they look at the empty space and panic. The empty closet feels like poverty. The lighter bank account feels like disaster. The ended relationship feels like loneliness. If you are not prepared for this gap, you will rush to fill it with anything, just to stop the discomfort. You will buy cheap clothes to fill the closet. You will waste money on junk to feel like you have money. You will jump into a rebound relationship to avoid being alone. And in doing so, you will destroy the vacuum before the universe has a chance to fill it with quality. Murphy's advice for enduring the gap is to focus on the invisible. The moment you create the vacuum, the universe begins to move. You cannot see it yet, but the supply is already on its way. It is like ordering something online. The moment you click purchase, the item is being prepared for shipment, even though you do not see it yet. If you cancel the order in a panic because the item has not arrived in 5 seconds, you will never receive it. You must wait. You must trust. You must hold the space. Murphy said, "The interval between the desire and its fulfillment is the testing ground of your faith. If you can hold the vacuum without panicking, you pass the test, and the universe delivers. If you panic, you fail the test, and you must start over. To strengthen your resolve, remind yourself daily of the law. Write it down. Nature abhors a vacuum. The universe must fill the space I create. Put this note where you will see it every day. On your bathroom mirror, on your refrigerator, on your computer screen. Every time doubt arises, read the note. Let the law override your fear. You are not doing something crazy. You are doing something scientific. You are applying a law that has governed the universe since the beginning of time. The law does not fail. People fail to apply the law correctly, but the law itself is infallible. If you create the vacuum and hold it, the universe will fill it. This is not a maybe, this is a certainty. Murphy also recommended that you surround yourself with evidence of the law. Find stories of people who released and received. Read biographies of successful people, and notice how many of them took massive risks, released everything, and were rewarded. Watch nature. Notice how trees release their leaves in the fall, and how new leaves always grow in the spring. The tree does not panic when the leaves fall. It trusts the cycle. You must become like the tree. You must trust that the cycle of release and renewal is built into the fabric of reality. You are not special or cursed. You are part of the cycle. If you align with the cycle will carry you to abundance. If you resist the cycle will crush you. The final element of mental preparation is to make a vow. Stand in front of a mirror, look yourself in the eye and say, "I vow to release the old and trust the universe to bring the new. I vow to create a vacuum and hold it until it is filled with divine supply. I will not panic. I will not fill the void with garbage. I will wait for the gold." Say this vow out loud with conviction and feel the shift in your energy. This vow is a contract between you and the universe. It is a declaration that you are ready to play by the rules of the law, not by the rules of fear. Once you make this vow, you are committed. There is no turning back. The universe will test you, and you must pass the test. If you pass, your life will transform. If you fail, you will remain where you are, wondering why nothing ever changes. The mental preparation is complete when you feel a sense of excitement rather than fear. When you look at the empty space in your closet and feel a thrill instead of dread, you are ready. When you think about giving away money and feel empowered instead of terrified, you are ready. When you imagine forgiving your enemies and feel liberated instead of bitter, you are ready. This shift from fear to excitement is the signal that your consciousness has aligned with the law. You are no longer operating from the ego, you are operating from the higher mind. And when you operate from the higher mind, miracles become normal. The impossible becomes inevitable. The universe becomes your servant, and you become the master of your fate. The execution of the vacuum protocol is a 3-step process that must be performed in order, with precision and commitment. This is not a casual experiment. This is a surgical procedure on your life. You are removing the tumors of stagnation and making room for the organs of prosperity to grow. Murphy designed this protocol to be simple enough for anyone to follow, but demanding enough to require real courage. If you follow these steps exactly, you will create a vacuum so powerful that the universe will have no choice but to flood your life with abundance. If you skip steps or perform them half-heartedly, you will create a weak vacuum that produces weak results. The law is exact, and it demands exactness from you. Step 1. The physical vacuum. Start with your physical environment, because the physical is the easiest to control and the most visible. Your outer world is a mirror of your inner world, and by cleaning the outer, you begin to clean the inner. Go to your closet right now. Do not wait. Do not plan to do it tomorrow. Do it now. Pull out every piece of clothing you own and lay it on your bed. Look at each item and ask yourself, have I worn this in the past year? If the answer is no, put it in a donation bag. Do not make excuses. Do not say, but I might wear it someday. Someday is the language of poverty. Someday means never. If you have not worn it in a year, you will not wear it. It is taking up space, and that space is blocking the arrival of clothes you will actually love and wear. Murphy taught that every object in your home carries energy, and if that energy is stagnant, your life will be stagnant. As you clean the outside, you clean the inside. The act of physically removing objects from your space is also the act of mentally removing blocks from your consciousness. When you throw away a shirt you never wear, you are also throwing away a belief that you are not worthy of better clothes. When you donate old shoes, you are also releasing the belief that you must hold on to everything out of fear. This is not just organization. This is exorcism. You are casting out the demons of lack and making room for the angels of abundance to enter. Clear your desk. Remove every paper, every pen, every object that does not serve a current purpose. If you have documents from 5 years ago that you are keeping just in case, throw them away or digitize them. The past is dead. Keeping relics of the past is like keeping a corpse in your living room and wondering why the house smells bad. Clean your car. Remove the trash, the old receipts, the broken sunglasses. Your car is a symbol of your journey through life, and if your car is cluttered, your journey is cluttered. Murphy said, order in the outer leads to order in the inner. If your physical environment is chaotic, your mind is chaotic. If your physical environment is clean and spacious, your mind becomes clean and spacious, and a spacious mind is a receptive mind. As you release each object, do not feel loss, feel suction. Imagine that each empty hanger in your closet is a magnet pulling new clothes toward you. Imagine that each empty drawer is a vacuum sucking in abundance. Say out loud, I have prepared the room for the guest. I have created space for my good to arrive. This is not positive thinking, this is programming your subconscious mind. The subconscious does not understand abstract concepts, it understands images and feelings. When you look at the empty space and feel excitement, you are sending a signal to the subconscious that emptiness equals opportunity, not loss. The subconscious will then create opportunities to fill that space. Step 2. The mental vacuum, which is forgiveness. Resentment takes up massive space in the subconscious, more space than any physical object. You cannot have a mind full of hate and full of wealth. They don't fit. Hatred is a low vibration, and wealth is a high vibration. If you are vibrating at the frequency of hatred, you will attract more things to hate. If you are vibrating at the frequency of love, you will attract more things to love. Murphy taught that forgiveness is not something you do for the other person. It is something you do for yourself. When you forgive, you are not saying that what they did was okay. You are saying, I refuse to let this person occupy space in my consciousness anymore. I release them so that I can be free. Sit down with a pen and paper and write down the names of every person who has hurt you, betrayed you, or wronged you in any way. Do not censor yourself. Write down everyone, even if the offense was small. Once you have the list, read each name out loud and say, I forgive you. I release you. I create a vacuum where this grudge used to be. As you say this, imagine that you are cutting a cord that connects you to that person. See the cord dissolve into light. Feel the weight lift from your chest. This is not a one-time exercise, this is a practice. If the resentment returns, repeat the process. Forgiveness is not a single act, it is a discipline. Murphy understood that unforgiveness is a form of hoarding. You are hoarding pain, hoarding anger, hoarding the right to be a victim. And as long as you hoard these things, you block the flow of love, joy, and prosperity. The universe cannot give you a loving relationship if your heart is full of bitterness. The universe cannot give you financial success if your mind is full of thoughts of revenge. You must empty the mind of all negativity to create space for positivity. This is the mental vacuum, And it is more important than the physical vacuum because the mind is the cause and the physical is the effect. If you clean your house but do not clean your mind, your house will become cluttered again within weeks. But if you clean your mind, your house will stay clean effortlessly. After you have forgiven others, you must forgive yourself. Write your own name on the paper and say, I forgive myself for all mistakes, all failures, all regrets. I release the past. I create a vacuum where guilt and shame used to be. Self-forgiveness is the hardest form of forgiveness because the ego loves to punish you. The ego believes that if you suffer enough, you will somehow atone for your sins. But Murphy taught that suffering does not atone for anything. It only creates more suffering. The only thing that heals the past is releasing the past. You cannot change what happened, but you can change the meaning you give it. Forgive yourself, and the universe will forgive you by sending you circumstances that prove you are worthy of love and success. Step 3. The financial vacuum. Give something. It doesn't have to be $1 million. Give a tip to a server. Donate a book to a library. Send money to a charity. Break the pattern of holding on. Prove to your subconscious that you are a conduit, not a dam. Murphy said, you must prime the pump. In the old days, water pumps required you to pour a little water into the pump before it would start drawing water from the well. If you refused to pour the water in, the pump would never work. Your financial life is the same. You must give before you receive. You must pour water into the pump before the pump will give you water. The act of giving when you feel you cannot afford to give is the ultimate act of faith. It is the moment when you override the ego and align with the law. The ego says, hold on to every penny because you don't have enough. The law says, give and you will receive. When you give, you are declaring to the universe, I trust the source. I am not afraid of lack. I know that the more I give, the more I receive. This declaration is heard by your subconscious mind, and your subconscious begins to create circumstances that validate your declaration. Within days, you will notice money coming to you from unexpected sources. A refund, a bonus, a gift, a new client. This is not coincidence, this is the law responding to your action. Murphy recommended that you give to something that uplifts you spiritually. Do not give out of obligation or guilt. Give to a cause you believe in, to a person who inspires you, to an organization that is doing good in the world. When you give with joy, you multiply the effect. When you give with resentment, you cancel the effect. The universe does not care about the amount, it cares about the spirit. A poor widow who gives $1 with love creates a greater vacuum than a millionaire who gives $1,000 with indifference. The vacuum is created by the consciousness of release, not by the size of the gift. After you have completed all 3 steps, the physical vacuum, the mental vacuum, and the financial vacuum, you must perform the post technique. Look at the empty space you have created. Look at the empty hangers in your closet. Look at the clean desk. Look at your lighter bank account. And instead of feeling fear, feel a thrill. Say out loud, I have prepared the room for the guest. The universe is now preparing my supply. I trust the law completely. Sit in silence for 5 minutes and visualize the new things arriving. See new clothes hanging in your closet. See new money appearing in your account. See new people entering your life. Feel the excitement of receiving. This visualization is not fantasy, it is instruction. You are instructing your subconscious mind to manifest these things, and your subconscious will obey. Do not fill the vacuum prematurely. This is the most important part of the post technique. After you have created the space, you will feel an urge to fill it immediately. You will want to go shopping. You will want to replace what you released. Resist this urge. The vacuum must be held for a period of time, at least 3 days, preferably a week, before the universe can fill it with quality. If you fill it yourself with cheap replacements, you will block the universe from filling it with treasures. Murphy said, patience is the interval between the seed and the harvest. You have planted the seed by creating the vacuum. Now you must wait for the harvest. Do not dig up the seed to see if it is growing. Trust the process. Trust the law. Trust the universe. The harvest is coming. The fatal mistakes that sabotage the vacuum law are numerous, but the most deadly is what Joseph Murphy called the fear of the void. This is the panic that arises in the gap between release and receipt, the silence between the exhale and the inhale. You create space, you end a bad relationship, you spend money on something meaningful, you clean out your home, but the new thing doesn't appear in 5 minutes. You panic. The ego screams that you have made a terrible mistake. You look at the empty closet and feel poor. You look at the lighter bank account and feel terrified. You look at the ended relationship and feel alone. And in that moment of panic, you make the decision that destroys everything. You fill the void with junk. Mistake number 1. The panic fill. You create a vacuum, but you cannot tolerate the emptiness. You rush out and buy cheap clothes to fill the empty hangers. You waste money on meaningless purchases to feel like you have money. You jump into a rebound relationship to avoid being alone. You fill your calendar with trivial obligations to avoid the silence. This is the panic fill, and it is the death of the vacuum law. Murphy taught that the vacuum must be sustained. You must hold the space. You must endure the discomfort of emptiness, because that emptiness is the womb where your new life is being formed. If you abort the process by filling the void prematurely, you will never give birth to your dreams. The panic fill happens because the ego interprets emptiness as danger. The ego is wired for survival, and survival requires resources. When you release resources, clothes, money, relationships, the ego perceives this as a threat to your survival. It does not understand that you are creating space for better resources. It only knows that you had something and now you don't, and this triggers a primal fear response. The ego floods your system with anxiety and commands you to replace what you lost immediately. If you obey the ego, you will fill the void with whatever is available, which is usually low quality, because high-quality things take time to manifest. You will end up with a closet full of clothes you don't love, a bank account full of regret, and a life full of people who drain you. Murphy's solution to the panic fill is to prepare for it in advance. Before you create the vacuum, you must mentally rehearse the gap. Sit quietly and imagine the moment after you have released. Imagine looking at the empty closet. Imagine feeling the fear arise, and then imagine yourself breathing through the fear, reminding yourself of the law, and choosing to hold the space. Say to yourself, "This emptiness is temporary. This emptiness is the sign that the universe is preparing my supply. I will not panic. I will wait for the divine quality." By rehearsing this scenario in your mind, you program your subconscious to respond with calm instead of panic when the real moment arrives. Another technique Murphy taught is to immediately replace the negative thought with a positive affirmation the moment the panic arises. When you look at the empty closet and think, "I am poor," immediately say out loud, "I am rich. The universe is filling this space with beautiful clothes that I will love." When you look at the lighter bank account and think, "I am going broke," immediately say, "I am prospering. Money is flowing to me from expected and unexpected sources." Do not let the negative thought linger. Negative thoughts are seeds, and if you let them sit in your mind, they will grow into negative experiences. Replace them instantly with the truth of the law. Murphy also warned against the subtle form of the panic fill, which is filling the void with low-quality substitutes. You don't buy cheap clothes. You keep the old clothes you were supposed to release. You don't waste money. You just stop giving and stop spending, hoarding what you have in fear. You don't jump into a rebound relationship. You just refuse to fully release the old relationship, keeping one foot in the past. This is worse than the obvious panic fill because it is harder to detect. You think you are holding the vacuum, but you are actually clogging it with invisible blockages. The universe cannot fill a space that is secretly still occupied. You must release completely, not partially. You must let go with both hands, not just one. Mistake. 2. Poverty thinking. This is the habit of keeping broken things, just in case I can't afford a new one. You have a chipped cup, but you keep using it because you are afraid that if you throw it away, you won't be able to buy a new cup. You have a broken phone charger, but you keep it in a drawer because it might work again someday. You have a car that barely runs, but you refuse to sell it because what if my new car breaks down? This is poverty thinking, and it is a direct affirmation of lack. Every time you use a broken object, you are telling your subconscious, I am poor, I cannot afford better. I must make do with scraps. And your subconscious, being perfectly obedient, will create circumstances that match this belief. Murphy taught that using broken things lowers your vibration to the level of broken. If you surround yourself with broken objects, you will attract broken relationships, broken finances, and broken health. The universe is a mirror. It reflects back to you the quality of what you put out. If you put out brokenness, you get back brokenness. If you put out wholeness, you get back wholeness. The solution is simple but terrifying to the ego. Throw away anything that is broken, chipped, torn, or damaged. Do not repair it unless you genuinely love the object and want to restore it. If you are keeping it out of fear, release it. Create the space for a whole, beautiful replacement to arrive. The ego will scream that this is wasteful, that you are being irresponsible, that you will regret this. Ignore the ego. The ego is not your friend, it is your jailer. It wants to keep you small and safe, and it defines safety as clinging to what you have, even if what you have is garbage. Murphy's teaching is the opposite. Safety is in the law, not in the object. If you trust the law, you can release the broken cup, knowing that a beautiful new cup is already on its way. If you do not trust the law, you will cling to the broken cup until it cuts your hand and poisons your water. The choice is yours, but the consequences are guaranteed. Poverty thinking also manifests as the refusal to invest in quality. You buy the cheapest version of everything because you are afraid to spend money. You eat cheap food, wear cheap clothes, live in a cheap apartment, drive a cheap car. You tell yourself this is being frugal, but it is actually being self-destructive. Cheap things break quickly, which means you have to replace them often, which means you end up spending more money in the long run. More importantly, cheap things lower your vibration. When you use cheap things, you feel cheap. You feel unworthy. You feel like you don't deserve better. And this feeling becomes a magnet for more cheapness, more unworthiness, more lack. Murphy's advice was radical. Spend money on quality, even if it scares you. Buy the beautiful cup, the well-made shoes, the high-quality food. This is not about being materialistic. This is about affirming your worth. When you invest in quality, you are telling your subconscious, I am worthy of the best. I deserve beauty and excellence. And your subconscious will create circumstances that match this belief. You will attract high-quality opportunities, high-quality relationships, and high-quality income. The universe does not give you what you want. It gives you what you are. If you are cheap, you get cheap. If you are excellent, you get excellent. Upgrade your self-concept by upgrading your environment, and your life will upgrade automatically. The master's tips that Joseph Murphy shared for perfecting the vacuum law are distilled from decades of observation and practice. These are not theories. These are field-tested techniques that have transformed thousands of lives. If you apply these tips with discipline and faith, you will accelerate your results and avoid the pitfalls that trap most people. Murphy's central command is this: you must be an open channel to receive. The infinite cannot give you anything unless there is a place for it to go. This statement contains the entire teaching. You are not a destination, you are a channel. The infinite is not trying to give you things to keep. It is trying to give you things to circulate. If you block the channel by hoarding, the infinite stops giving because there is nowhere for the gifts to go. The first master's tip is to practice daily release. Do not wait until your life is cluttered to create a vacuum. Make it a daily habit to release something. Every day, find one object you no longer need and give it away. This keeps the channel open. This keeps the energy flowing. Murphy compared this to brushing your teeth. You don't wait until your teeth are rotting to brush them. You brush them every day to prevent rot. The same principle applies to your life. Don't wait until you are suffocating in clutter to release. Release a little every day to prevent the build-up. This daily practice also trains your subconscious to trust the law. When you release something every day and see that you are fine, that you don't die, that new things keep coming, your subconscious learns that release equals safety, not danger. The second master's tip is to release with ceremony. Do not just throw things in the trash or dump them at a donation center. Create a ritual. Light a candle. Say a prayer. Thank the object for serving you. Bless it and release it with love. This ceremony accomplishes two things. It honors the object, which raises your vibration, and it signals to your subconscious that this is a sacred act, not a casual one. The subconscious pays attention to rituals. When you create a ceremony around release, the subconscious understands that this is important, and it will amplify the effect. Murphy often said, "What you do with reverence, you do with power." Release with reverence, and the power of the law will multiply your results. The third master's tip is to focus on the feeling of spaciousness, not the feeling of loss. After you release, spend time in the empty space. Sit in your clean room. Walk through your organized closet. Drive your clean car. And as you do, focus on how good the space feels. Notice the lightness. Notice the freedom. Notice the potential. Say to yourself, "This space is full of possibility. This space is the womb of my new life." By focusing on the positive feeling of spaciousness, you program your subconscious to associate emptiness with opportunity, not with lack. This is the key to holding the vacuum without panicking. If emptiness feels good, you will not rush to fill it. You will savor it, knowing that something beautiful is on its way. The fourth master's tip is to give before you need. Do not wait until you are desperate to start giving. Give when you are comfortable. Give when you have plenty. This establishes the pattern of circulation before the crisis hits. Murphy observed that people who give regularly never experience financial emergencies. They may have challenges, but they never have catastrophes. This is because they have trained their subconscious to trust the flow. When a problem arises, their subconscious automatically creates a solution because it knows that supply is infinite. The person who only gives when desperate has trained their subconscious to believe that supply is scarce, and therefore their subconscious will create scarcity. The fifth master's tip is to release the need to know how the vacuum will be filled. This is where most people sabotage themselves. They create the vacuum and then obsess over how the new thing will arrive. Where will the money come from? Who will I meet? What job will I get? This obsession is a form of control, and control is the opposite of trust. Murphy taught that your job is to create the vacuum and hold the space. The universe's job is to fill the vacuum. You do not need to know how. You do not need to figure it out. You do not need to make a plan. The universe has infinite ways to deliver your good, and most of those ways are beyond your imagination. If you try to control the how, you limit the universe to your small ideas. If you release the how, you allow the universe to surprise you with miracles. The sixth master's tip is to avoid talking about the vacuum to people who do not understand the law. If you tell your friends and family that you're throwing away half your wardrobe or giving away money when you are broke, they will think you are insane. They will try to stop you. They will fill your mind with doubt and fear. Murphy said, "Do not cast your pearls before swine." This is not about being elitist. This is about protecting your consciousness. Your consciousness is fragile in the early stages of practicing the law. It can be easily contaminated by the negativity of others. Keep your practice private. Let your results speak for themselves. When your life transforms, people will ask what you did, and then you can share. But do not share before the transformation, or you will invite sabotage. The seventh and final master's tip is to celebrate every small evidence of the law. When you release something and a new thing arrives, even if it is small, celebrate it. Say, "The law is working, the vacuum is being filled." This celebration reinforces the pattern. It tells your subconscious that the law is real and reliable. Most people dismiss the small evidences, waiting for the big miracle. But Murphy taught that the big miracle is made of 1,000 small miracles. If you ignore the small ones, you will never see the big one. Acknowledge every gift, every synchronicity, every unexpected dollar. These are the breadcrumbs that lead to the treasure. Follow them with gratitude, and the treasure will appear. The connection to atmospheric physics that Joseph Murphy drew is not metaphorical, it is literal. The vacuum law operates in your life exactly as it operates in the weather system of Earth. In meteorology, wind is simply air rushing from an area of high pressure to an area of low pressure. The greater the difference in pressure, the stronger the wind. A gentle breeze is the result of a small pressure difference. A hurricane is the result of a massive pressure difference. The air does not choose to move, It is forced to move by the laws of physics. The high-pressure system pushes and the low-pressure system pulls, and the air has no option but to flow. This is not a theory. This is observable, measurable, repeatable science. Murphy understood that the same principle governs the flow of wealth, love, and opportunity in your life. The universe is an infinite reservoir of supply, a high-pressure system of abundance. You are the low-pressure system, the vacuum. If you want a trickle of supply, create a small vacuum. If you want a flood of supply, create a massive vacuum. If you want a hurricane of abundance, create a low-pressure system so intense that the universe has no choice but to rush toward you with violent force. This is not begging God for blessings. This is engineering the conditions that make blessings inevitable. You are not hoping for wind. You are creating the pressure differential that produces wind. The reason most people experience only a trickle of abundance is that they create only a small vacuum. They release one shirt and expect $1 million. They forgive one minor offense and expect their entire life to heal. They give away $5 and wonder why they are not rich. Murphy's teaching is more demanding. The size of your vacuum determines the size of your supply. If you want significant results, you must create a significant vacuum. This means releasing not just a few things, but many things. This means forgiving not just the easy offenses, but the hard ones. This means giving not just what is comfortable, but what is sacrificial. The universe does not respond to your intentions, it responds to your actions. Your actions create the vacuum, and the vacuum creates the wind. Consider the physics of a tornado. A tornado is one of the most powerful forces in nature, capable of lifting houses and cars and hurling them through the air. What creates a tornado? A massive low-pressure system at the center. The air around the tornado is rushing toward the center at hundreds of miles per hour, trying to fill the vacuum. The tornado does not ask the air to come. The air is compelled to come by the laws of physics. Now imagine your life as the center of a tornado. Imagine creating a vacuum so powerful that money, opportunities, relationships, and resources are pulled toward you with irresistible force. This is not fantasy. This is what happens when you apply the vacuum law with full commitment. Murphy also pointed out that a vacuum in nature is an unstable state. Nature seeks equilibrium. If you create a vacuum, nature will immediately begin to fill it, because nature cannot tolerate imbalance. This is why a vacuum is such a powerful tool for manifestation. You are not asking the universe to do you a favor. You are creating a condition that the universe must correct. The universe is not sitting in judgment, deciding whether you are worthy. The universe is a machine, and you are pulling the lever. When you create the vacuum, the machine dispenses the supply. It is automatic, impersonal, and utterly reliable. The only variable is you. If you create the vacuum and hold it, the supply comes. If you fail to create the vacuum or you fill it prematurely, the supply does not come. The law does not care about your excuses, it only cares about your alignment. Another parallel from physics is the concept of suction. When you suck liquid through a straw, you're not pulling the liquid up. You are creating a vacuum in your mouth, and the atmospheric pressure pushes the liquid up the straw to fill the vacuum. The liquid does not move because you are strong. It moves because the pressure differential forces it to move. Your role is simply to create the vacuum. The universe does the rest. This is why Murphy said, "Let go and let God." You do your part, create the space, and then you step back and allow the universe to do its part, which is to fill the space. If you try to do the universe's job, you will fail. If you do your job and trust the universe to do its job, you will succeed. Murphy often used the example of a bellows to illustrate this principle. A bellows is a tool used to fan a fire. When you squeeze the bellows, you expel the air. When you release the bellows, the vacuum inside sucks in new air. The fire is fed not by the squeezing, but by the releasing. The releasing creates the vacuum, and the vacuum draws in the oxygen that feeds the fire. Your life is the bellows. If you are always squeezing, always holding on, always controlling, always hoarding, you are expelling the air but never drawing it in. The fire of your life begins to die. But if you release, if you let go, if you create the vacuum, you draw in the oxygen of new opportunities, and the fire of your life roars back to life. The atmospheric model also explains why some people seem to attract abundance effortlessly while others struggle. The person who attracts abundance effortlessly is living in a constant state of release. They give freely, they spend freely, they forgive freely, they release freely. They are a perpetual low-pressure system, and therefore they experience a perpetual inrush of supply. The person who struggles is living in a constant state of constriction. They hold on, they hoard, they resent, they cling. They are a high-pressure system, and therefore nothing can flow toward them. The universe is trying to give, but there is no vacuum to receive. It is like trying to pour water into a bottle that is already full. The water spills out because there is no space for it to go. Murphy's genius was in recognizing that you can change your pressure system at will. You are not stuck. You are not cursed. You are not a victim of circumstances. You are the engineer of your own atmospheric conditions. If you are experiencing lack, it is because you have created a high-pressure system by hoarding and clinging. If you want to experience abundance, you must create a low-pressure system by releasing and giving. This is not a moral judgment. This is a description of mechanics. The law does not care whether you are a good person or a bad person. The law only cares whether you are aligned with the law. If you are aligned, you prosper. If you are not aligned, you suffer. The choice is always yours. The final insight from atmospheric physics is that the vacuum does not discriminate. It pulls in whatever is nearby. If you create a vacuum in a clean environment, the vacuum will pull in clean air. If you create a vacuum in a polluted environment, the vacuum will pull in polluted air. This is why Murphy insisted that you must elevate your consciousness before you create the vacuum. You must surround yourself with positive people, positive thoughts, and positive environments. You must clean your mind and your space before you create the vacuum, or the vacuum will fill with garbage. The law is impersonal. It will give you whatever matches your vibration. If your vibration is high, you will attract high-quality things. If your vibration is low, you will attract low-quality things. The vacuum amplifies whatever you are, so make sure you are vibrating at the frequency of what you want to receive. To summarize the connection to atmospheric physics, you are not begging the universe for supply. You are engineering the conditions that make supply inevitable. You are creating a low-pressure system, a vacuum, and the universe, being a high-pressure system of infinite abundance, is forced by the laws of physics to rush in and fill your vacuum. The stronger your vacuum, the stronger the wind. The larger your vacuum, the larger the supply. This is not hope, this is science. This is not faith, this is engineering. Apply the law with precision and the results will be as predictable as gravity. Create the vacuum, hold the space, and watch as the universe floods your life with treasures beyond your wildest dreams. The anecdote that Murphy shared to illustrate the vacuum law in action is the story of a woman who wanted to travel Europe but had no money. She was stuck in a job she hated, living in a house filled with furniture she despised, and her life felt like a prison. She came to Murphy and said, "I dream of walking the streets of Paris, seeing the art of Florence, standing in the ruins of Rome. But I have no money, I have no way to make this happen. What do I do?" Murphy looked at her and said, "What is in your house?" She was confused. "Furniture," she said. "Old furniture that I inherited from my aunt. I hate it, but I can't afford to replace it, so I keep it." Murphy's response was immediate and uncompromising. "Sell it or give it away. Make room for the trip." The woman was terrified. She protested, "But if I get rid of the furniture, my house will be empty. I will have nothing. How will that help me get to Europe?" Murphy explained the law to her. He said, "Your house is full of things you do not love. This fullness is a signal to the universe that you do not need anything new. If you want to travel to Europe, you must create space for that experience to enter your life. The furniture is blocking the trip. Release the furniture, and the trip will come." The woman did not fully understand, but she trusted Murphy. She went home and, over the course of a week, sold or donated every piece of furniture she hated. Her living room was empty. Her dining room was empty. Her bedroom had only a mattress on the floor. She sat in the emptiness and felt a mixture of fear and exhilaration. 3 days later, her boss called her into his office. He said, "We are opening a new branch in Paris, and we need someone to relocate there for a year to set it up. The company will pay for your moving expenses, your housing, and give you a furniture allowance to furnish your apartment. We will also give you a raise to cover the cost of living in Paris. Are you interested?" The woman could not believe it. She had not applied for this position. She had not even known it existed. It had simply appeared as if the universe had been waiting for her to create the space to receive it. She accepted the offer, moved to Paris, and spent a year traveling Europe on weekends, all expenses paid. When she returned, she wrote to Murphy, "The moment I emptied my house, the universe filled my life." This story is not unique. Murphy documented hundreds of similar cases. A man who wanted a new car but could not afford one. Murphy told him to sell his old car, even though it was his only transportation. The man sold the car and took the bus to work for 2 weeks. On the 15th day, a friend called and said, "I am moving overseas and I need to sell my car quickly. I know you need one. I will sell it to you for half the market price." The man bought the car, which was 10 times better than the one he had sold, for less money than he had received from selling his old car. He had created a vacuum, and the universe had filled it with an upgrade. A woman who wanted a loving relationship, but was stuck in a toxic marriage. She was afraid to leave because she did not want to be alone. Murphy told her, "You cannot have a new relationship while you are clinging to the old one. End the marriage, and the right person will appear." She filed for divorce. For 6 months she was alone and she was terrified, but she held the space. She did not jump into a rebound relationship. She focused on healing and preparing herself for the right partner. On the 7th month, she met a man at a bookstore. They talked for hours. Within a year they were married, and she said, "This is the relationship I always dreamed of, but it could not come until I released the nightmare." Murphy's point in sharing these stories is not to suggest that the law is easy. It is not. The law requires courage, faith, and discipline. The woman who emptied her house had to sit in the emptiness for 3 days, not knowing if anything would come. The man who sold his car had to take the bus for 2 weeks, trusting that a better car was on the way. The woman who ended her marriage had to endure 6 months of loneliness, resisting the temptation to fill the void with the wrong person. These are not small sacrifices. These are acts of faith that feel like leaps off a cliff. But the law rewards those who leap. The law does not reward those who stand at the edge, wishing they had the courage to jump. The key lesson from these anecdotes is that the universe does not give you what you want until you create space for it. The woman wanted to travel Europe, but her house was full of furniture. The universe could not deliver the trip because there was no room in her life for it. The moment she created the room by emptying her house, the universe rushed in with the opportunity. The man wanted a new car, but he was clinging to the old car. The universe could not deliver the new car because the old car was occupying the space. The moment he released the old car, the universe delivered the new one. The woman wanted a loving relationship, but she was clinging to the toxic marriage. The universe could not deliver the right partner because the wrong partner was occupying the space. The moment she released the wrong partner, the universe delivered the right one. This is the vacuum law in action. It is not magic. It is not luck. It is not coincidence. It is the precise, predictable operation of a universal principle. Nature abhors a vacuum, and nature will fill the vacuum with whatever matches your consciousness. If your consciousness is aligned with your desire, the vacuum will fill with your desire. If your consciousness is misaligned, the vacuum will fill with something you do not want. This is why Murphy insisted that you must do the inner work before you create the outer vacuum. You must align your thoughts, your beliefs, and your emotions with what you want to receive. You must become the vibrational match for your desire. And then, when you create the vacuum, the universe will have no choice but to fill it with your desire. The final insight from these anecdotes is that the universe often delivers in ways you could never have predicted. The woman did not get a lottery win to pay for her trip to Europe. She got a job offer that included the trip. The man did not find a new car at a dealership. He got a call from a friend who was moving. The woman did not meet her soulmate on a dating app. She met him in a bookstore. The universe is infinitely creative, and it will deliver your good through channels you never imagined. Your job is not to figure out how. Your job is to create the vacuum and trust the process. The how is the universe's problem. The what and the when are your subconscious mind's problem. Your only job is to release the old and hold the space for the new. Do this, and the universe will astonish you with its generosity and ingenuity. The synthesis of power that emerges from the vacuum law is the realization that holding on is an act of fear and letting go is an act of power. This is the inversion of everything you have been taught. Society teaches you to accumulate, to save, to hold on, to never let go. Society says that security comes from having more money, more possessions, more relationships, more control. But Joseph Murphy taught the opposite. He taught that true security comes from trusting the law, and trust is demonstrated through release. When you hold on, you are saying, I do not trust the universe. I must protect myself because no one else will. When you let go, you are saying, I trust the universe completely. I know that the source is infinite and I am a channel for that infinity. This shift from fear to power is the transformation that changes everything. Fear makes you small, contracted, defensive. Power makes you large, expansive, generous. Fear hoards, power circulates. Fear clings to the old, power embraces the new. Fear sees scarcity, power sees abundance. When you operate from fear, you are a dam, blocking the flow of the universe. When you operate from power, you are a river, carrying the flow of the universe to the world. Murphy's teaching is not about becoming rich so you can retire and do nothing. His teaching is about becoming a conduit for the infinite, so you can serve the world with your gifts while living in abundance. The two are not separate, they are one. The power of release is that it proves to your subconscious mind that you are not a victim. Victims hold on because they believe they have no control. They believe that if they release what they have, they will be left with nothing and no one will help them. But when you release, you declare, I am the master of my fate. I am the creator of my reality. I do not need to cling to the old because I can create the new. This declaration is heard by your subconscious, and your subconscious begins to operate from a place of power instead of fear. It stops creating circumstances that validate your victimhood and starts creating circumstances that validate your mastery. Murphy taught that the universe is always listening to your actions, not your words. You can say 1,000 affirmations about abundance, but if you are hoarding every penny and refusing to give, the universe hears, I believe in scarcity. You can pray for love every day, but if you are clinging to a toxic relationship, the universe hears, I do not believe I deserve better. Your actions are the language the universe understands, and the most powerful action you can take is release. When you release, you are speaking the language of faith, trust, and power. And the universe responds in kind, flooding your life with evidence that your faith was justified. The synthesis of power also includes the understanding that you are not losing anything when you release. You are gaining space, which is the most valuable commodity in the universe. Space is potential. Space is possibility. Space is the blank canvas on which the universe paints your dreams. When your life is cluttered with old possessions, old relationships, old beliefs, there is no space for the new to enter. You are like an artist trying to paint a masterpiece on a canvas that is already covered with old, ugly paintings. You must wipe the canvas clean before you can create the new. This is not loss, this is preparation, this is not sacrifice, this is investment. You are investing in your future by clearing the way for it to arrive. The message of empowerment that Joseph Murphy leaves you with is this: stop suffocating your prosperity. You are standing in a river of abundance, but you have built a dam with your fear, your hoarding, your clinging, and your refusal to let go. The river is pressing against the dam, trying to flow through you, but you are holding it back. You wonder why you are thirsty when you are standing in the middle of a river. The answer is simple. You are blocking the flow. Open the dam. Release the old. Let the river move through you. You are not meant to be a reservoir storing water for a drought that will never come. You are meant to be a channel, allowing the water to flow through you to nourish the world. When you become a channel, the universe ensures that you always have more than enough, because the universe needs you to distribute its gifts. Open the windows of your life. Let the stale air out. Let the fresh air in. Empty the closets that are packed with clothes you never wear. Throw away the broken objects that remind you of lack. Forgive the people who hurt you and release the space they are occupying in your mind. Spend money on things that uplift you, even if it scares you. Give to causes you believe in, even if your bank account is low. Quit the job that is killing your soul, even if you do not have the next one lined up. End the relationship that is draining your life force, even if you are afraid of being alone. These are not reckless acts. These are acts of faith. These are acts of power. These are acts of alignment with the law. Let the dead leaves fall so the new buds can grow. Nature teaches this lesson every autumn. The trees do not cling to their leaves. They release them without hesitation, trusting that new leaves will grow in the spring. The tree does not worry. The tree does not panic. The tree does not hoard the old leaves in fear that new ones will not come. The tree knows the law of circulation, and it obeys the law without question. You must become like the tree. You must release the old without hesitation, trusting that the new is already on its way. The universe is more reliable than the seasons. If you create the vacuum, the universe will fill it. This is not a maybe. This is a guarantee. Murphy's final message is that you are not alone in this process. The universe is your partner. The infinite is your source. Your subconscious mind is your servant. You are surrounded by invisible forces that are conspiring to help you succeed. But these forces cannot help you if you do not give them space to work. They cannot deliver your good if your hands are full of garbage. They cannot fill your cup if your cup is already full of poison. You must do your part, which is to create the vacuum. And when you do, you will discover that the universe was waiting for this moment. You will discover that your good was always there, just outside the door, waiting for you to open it. And the moment you open the door, the moment you create the space, your good will rush in like a flood, and you will wonder why you waited so long. Create the vacuum, and the universe will rush to fill you with treasures you cannot imagine. This is not a metaphor. This is not a motivational slogan. This is the law, and the law is as real as gravity. You have spent your life trying to accumulate, and accumulation has brought you nothing but stress and stagnation. Now try the opposite. Try release. Try circulation. Try trust. Create the vacuum and hold the space, and watch as your life transforms before your eyes. The universe is waiting for you to take the leap. The universe is waiting for you to create the space. The universe is waiting for you to become the channel. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop waiting for proof. The proof comes after the action, not before. Act now. Release now. Create the vacuum now. And prepare to receive the abundance that has always been yours. The challenge that Murphy issues to you is simple but demanding. It is called the 20-item challenge, and it is designed to break the pattern of hoarding and activate the law of circulation in your life immediately. Right now, not tomorrow, not next week, but right now, you will go through your home and find 20 items that you do not use, do not need, and do not love. These items can be anything: clothes, books, kitchen gadgets, old electronics, papers, decorations. The only requirement is that you must release them. You must throw them away or donate them. You cannot store them in the garage or give them to a friend to hold for you. They must leave your life completely and permanently. This challenge will feel difficult. Your ego will resist. You will look at each item and think of a reason to keep it. I might need this someday. This was a gift. I paid good money for this. It still works. These are the lies the ego tells to keep you trapped in scarcity. Ignore the ego. The truth is, if you have not used the item in a year, you will never use it. If you do not love the item, it is lowering your vibration every day you keep it. Murphy's rule was ruthless. If it does not serve you now, release it now. The past is dead. The future is not yet here. The only moment that matters is now. And in this moment, you must create space for your good to arrive. As you release each item, feel the energy shift. You will notice that the air in your home feels lighter. You will notice that your mind feels clearer. You will notice that your body feels more relaxed. This is not your imagination. This is the result of removing energetic blockages. Every object carries energy, and when you remove objects that carry the energy of the past, you free up that energy to flow into the present. By the time you have released all 20 items, you will feel like a different person. You will feel lighter, freer, more powerful. And this feeling is the signal to your subconscious that you are ready to receive. After you complete the 20-item challenge, do not immediately go out and buy 20 new items. This is the mistake most people make. They create the vacuum and then panic and fill it with junk. Instead, sit in the emptiness for at least 3 days. Look at the space you have created and feel the potential. Say to yourself, this space is sacred. This space is the womb of my new life. I will not fill it with garbage. I will wait for the universe to fill it with gold. This waiting period is the test of your faith. If you can endure the emptiness without panicking, you pass the test. If you panic and fill the void, you fail the test and must start over. The final call to action is this: subscribe to Sacred Logic to become a magnet for the divine. This channel is dedicated to teaching you the precise, scientific laws that govern reality. This is not entertainment. This is education. This is not motivation. This is transformation. Every video on this channel is designed to rewire your consciousness, to align you with the laws of the universe, and to turn you into a deliberate creator of your destiny. If you have made it to the end of this video, you are ready for the next level. You are ready to go deeper. You are ready to master the laws and engineer the life you were born to live. Murphy's legacy is not a philosophy. It is a technology. It is a set of tools that, when applied correctly, produce predictable results. The vacuum law is one of those tools, and you now possess it. You know the theory, you know the practice, you know the pitfalls, you know the rewards. The only question that remains is, will you use it? Will you have the courage to release the old and trust the universe to bring the new? Will you create the vacuum and hold the space, even when your ego screams that you are making a mistake? The answer to this question will determine the trajectory of your life. Choose wisely. Choose powerfully. Choose now, go now. Find your 20 items, release them, feel the shift, and then return to this channel to learn the next law. The universe is waiting. Your destiny is waiting. The only thing standing between you and the life of your dreams is your willingness to let go of the life you are clinging to. Let go, create the vacuum, and watch as the universe rushes in to fill you with miracles.